Good morning. How you doing? Hey, how you doing? Welcome to twitch.tv/icecreamuploads. My name is Grim Day and I'm actually joined by the man that we call Bibby. All right, Bib.
Good morning. Yeah, I'm back, baby.
It's been like 2 weeks since we've scooped together. I mean, I buggered off for a week, and then you buggered off for a week because you'd done it on your own for a week, and you was like, "Fuck this shit, I'm out." All right.
Yeah, man.
Good week off.
It was nice. Yeah, it was nice. We had some decent enough weather, so I was able to go out and play golf and lounge about in bed. And I didn't really play that many video games until the evening. But Graham, I teased you last week on text about a game that I've just repurchased again.
I mean, I would never have called it.
Yeah, I think you had an idea, but you didn't quite get there. But after we broke the news 2.5 weeks ago about Skyrim again coming to the PlayStation 5, if you had the PlayStation 4 Special Edition, then you got the PlayStation 5 version for free. I didn't have the Special Edition. I think I've just got the normal one. But bam, for £14, I've gone and got myself the Special Edition. PS5 ready for in November time. I cannot wait.
So if you wonder how Bethesda and Microsoft can do things like Game Pass, where they give games away for free and stuff, it's because Bibby buys 6 for every one that you play. There you go.
What's required? It's required gaming at this point.
Oh, you love to see it. You love to see it. Yeah, I didn't buy any games off eBay or anything. I did play boxing. I did play some Big Rumble boxing, Creed Champions. Bibby just banned someone. Was there someone in the chat?
Yeah, it's someone who followed 9 minutes ago as Hate Raider.
Oh, okay. Get the fuck out of here. Get out of here. I played Big Rumble Boxing, Creed Champions over the weekend. And then I thought, you know what? I'm okay at this. I'm not the greatest, but I'm okay. And then last night I watched Showplay and I thought, you know what? I'm really good at this game.
Yeah. Especially he was giving it the big one. It was like, oh, if he's got multiplayer, you guys are going down.
And then he gets absolutely dropped.
Sorry. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, he couldn't fight his way out of a wet paper bag at that point. And then he ended up ending the stream because he got thumb lock. Like, what a fucking noob. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, enough about him not being able to compete.
Bless him, bless him. Now, if you do want to check it out, Show was streaming Big Rumble Boxing. We got it #gifted by the lovely people at Koch Media UK last week. Both Bibby and I will have it. It's actually really fun. It's not the longest game, and it's not obviously a AAA game by any stretch of the imagination, but it's some good fun. So at some point we will be streaming that, probably this week. But it's not really co-op. I mean, you can do remote play-ish stuff, probably.
Yeah. Pass deck, obviously, if you're playing it on PC, and then share play if you've got a fast enough internet connection. It probably would be a lot of good fun. It's just a shame that an arcade game like that doesn't have the multiplayer stuff.
Yeah, so it's basically, think of Street Fighter, a beat 'em up, but in boxing. That's the way that I would put it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's decent. So yeah, if there's any solo streams, we'll probably throw that out at some point this week, just to say thanks to the lovely people at Koch for giving us the love. Nice.
Yeah.
But yes, we are back. If you don't know who we are, my name is Grim Day. Hey, that's Bibby having a big old swig. We are Ice Cream Uploads, and in true Ice Creamy fashion, this is The Scoop, the UK's #1 video game podcast. Even if we do say so ourselves, we go live 5 days a week at 10 a.m.-ish. It's not too bad with the going live time today. It was like 20 past 11-ish, something like that. So I'll take that. It's close to 10-ish. It's only one away. That's fine. So yeah, we go live on Twitch each and every single weekday at 10 a.m.-ish, Monday to Friday. So if you're in the chat, please do feel free to get involved. If you can't be with us live, that's fine, because we turn the live stream into a podcast. But that is where it's important for everyone that is in the chat to get involved as the show goes on. As I say, we do turn it into a podcast, an audio podcast on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Google Play, and a video on YouTube. So make sure you do get involved for everyone that watches and listens on demand. And if I'm speaking to you, you're watching and listening on demand, hey, how you doing? You may be watching on YouTube, but if you have a Twitch account, you can get involved whenever we do go live. Make sure you do come to Twitch, do drop a follow. And we don't ever ask for subs, but if you were to sub Make sure you do it before we do the loot drop later today. We're not going to do it in the scoop because that would obviously disrupt the flow of the news. But if we do have some streamage later on, we will either do it in that stream or in and around it. Either way, we will announce it on social media and Discord if we don't announce it on stream today, who the winner of the loot drop is. And to confirm, one person will be bagging themselves that shirt, not that shirt, but one of those shirts for themselves, customized. We'll draw the winner today. All you have to do is be a subscriber, be in our Discord, and then have your Twitch and Discord accounts linked so that our Discord can see that you're a sub. If you don't do that, even though you might have done all the other bits, it doesn't count. So make sure you do it. Nice. One other final bit of news. We are back on Insert Coin this Wednesday. Myself and Bib, we have done four, I think.
No.
3?
Yeah, 4.
Yeah. So we've done 4 streams over on at the official Insert Coin Twitch channel, and we will be back there again this Wednesday. We usually stream in the evening, although the last time we streamed, it was the day of an England game during the Euros, so we moved it to early afternoon. We might be doing the same again this week as well. So if you are interested in joining us on Insert Coin, the chances are it will be a weekday stream rather than an evening stream. That is this Wednesday. So !Insert Coin if anyone does want any extra information on that. But I think it's time for some
Thursday.
news. Oh, yeah, I've completely forgot about that one. I was just doing the !Insert Coin, but that's a good shout. Thursday night, we'll have... Do you know what? I'm hoping one of the biggest conferences that we've had for months, because we had the opening night live conference, not last week, the week before, and that was a good conference. We had the Xbox conference the day before that, and that was a mediocre conference, which is understandable because Xbox had gone big at E3. So we had a big Xbox E3 conference, a big opening night live conference, but nothing from PlayStation. And that could be PlayStation first party, or that could be PlayStation third party with exclusive. So do they have any FIFA news exclusive? Do they have any Call of Duty news? Whatever. That could be happening this Thursday. Thursday has the first PlayStation showcase that we've had in... Do you know what? It's the first PlayStation showcase we've had in years. They did call it showcase, right? Because it's not a state of play.
Yeah, it's not. It's not live from PSX or anything like that. I think it is just like a PlayStation watch along.
So, I mean,
PlayStation Live.
The fact that I believe they had the word big in there, unless I'm mixing that up with Xbox, like a big showcase.
Super.
Yeah, there you go.
That's
Super. That's Andy Platonic.
Andy Robinson, wasn't it?
Yeah. So expect a good show. Whatever it is, it's PlayStation. It's not just another state of play. There's no holding it back saying it's an indie state of play or anything. They've let the rumour mill run wild, so it could be a good one. We will be doing a live watch-along. Whatever.
Jonathan Ross over here.
It's Elmer Fudd. Call me Elmer Fudd. There we go. For a live watch-along. On Thursday, we will do a live watch-along, 9 p.m. So Wednesday, we have an Insert Coin stream. Thursday, we have the live PlayStation watch-along, which we may be doing on our own. We may have some good buddies. You never know. We'll keep you posted. AKA, we'll sort it out before. Nice.
Yeah. On the day.
Let me jump into the chat just to see who we have here. Gagad says, good morning, gents, or just Bibby, or just Graham, whatever. It's both of us. Yeah, it's back to normal now. I had a week off, Bibby had a week off, and it's all good. Vernon, thank you very much for the lurk and the host. I appreciate you. Crumpet says, Cobra Kai, loving the t-shirt. You goddamn right. Cobra Kai. Anyway, that's enough of that. As you can see on screen now, the first story that we will be discussing is the fact that PS5 games cost $200 million to make. Or at least they could do. That is the first bit of news that we will jump through. We will then jump through the rest of the stories, including a revision of a story that myself and Itani went through on Friday, and that is Horizon Forbidden West will get free PS4 to PS5 upgrades after customer blowback. AKA, they done fucked up. People are pissed off, and they've done a U-turn. If you buy the PS4 version of the game, you will get the PS5 version for free. Nice. That's kind of what you said previously, PlayStation, but nice. Okay, moving ahead from that, we then start to get out of video games a little bit and more into controversial storylines. This is the kind of storyline where we kind of lean into it, but don't know enough to say everything confidently, but it's a storyline that definitely needed to be discussed, and that is the fact that Shipwright Studios is cancelling contracts with Tripwire following the president's anti-abortion tweet. So deep stories compared to what we usually have, but definitely something that should be shared. And thank you to Madge for sharing that story with us as well. We did take your prompt from the tweet and we've pulled a link to an article written by the gamer. So shout out to Madge for that story. Alan Wake Remastered looks set for release in October is the game that is the article that we will follow that up with. And then we'll finish off with, does anybody want a big, massive controller for your Xbox? Well, there is another Duke controller coming for the Xbox's 20th anniversary. Absolutely not fit for my hands. But, you know, there you go. Little baby fingers over here. No, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Anyway, let's jump in. The first story of the day. Bib.
Yes.
$200 million to make one game. Is that sustainable?
Yes, I genuinely think it is. And I will tell you after the article as to why I think that.
Nice. Well, let's go through. This is written by Yin-Poole at Eurogamer. As you can see on screen, the article says, ex-PlayStation boss predicts Sony's PS5 games will cost $200 million to make. Quote, if we can't stop the cost curve from going up, all we can do is try to de-risk it. So into the article now, it says, the former boss of PlayStation has predicted PS5 games will cost $200 million to make. Sean Layden, who held various executive roles at PlayStation before leaving in October 2019, told Bloomberg the cost of game development doubles with every platform. Budgets for PS4 games Layden spearheaded each hit $100 million, and Bloomberg reports Layden predicts PS5 games will each cost $200 million to make, and prices will only increase from there. Big game companies will combat this exponential development cost by employing a de-risk strategy, Layden suggested, which in turn causes AAA publishers to become incentivized towards sequels. Bloomberg points to publishers chasing trends, quoting Layden as saying, what happens there is you end up with 3 to 4 silos of games or game types that continue to exist and variety is squeezed out. Sony is working on a raft of big budget sequels for PS5, although most are cross-gen titles that also have a PS4 version. Titles include Guerrilla's Horizon Forbidden West, Polyphony's Gran Turismo 7, and the next God of War from Santa Monica. Meanwhile, Days Gone developer Ben Studio is working on a new IP, and Uncharted and The Last of Us developer Naughty Dog is working on a standalone multiplayer game, as well as reportedly a remake of The Last of Us. Let's just put a pin in that. We don't need to keep going. $200 million. Oh, I've just hit an animation. Let's get rid of that. $200 million for a video game. Okay, babe, you think it's sustainable? Give us the reasons why.
Well, you've got to understand nowadays that video games are not just video games; they are pieces of art. So they always have been. It's just we are living in a world now where people are starting to recognize that people who are beyond the video game realm but are looking at video games as storytelling pieces. We've said it so many times in here that some of the biggest writers that have ever been in, and I'm going to use the word the game, that encompasses everything TV, any kind of media. These writers are coming in now and just writing for video games as well as creating movies, creating stories is their forte. They do that on a regular basis and they want to try and reach as many people as possible. Video games have now eclipsed what you'd see on your TV and what companies are making in the box office. Like, I've just Googled now the most expensive films that have ever been created, and according to Wikipedia, I know it's not a great source of information, but it's just the most accessible one that I had when I Googled it. Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides cost £380 million to make. And then the Avengers, Age of Ultron, Endgame, and Infinity War between 325 million and 365 million. Now, they are film, especially Avengers ones. They are in a universe where they'll have, I don't know, 30 films in one universe, and they'll make millions and millions. And at this moment in part, they've probably made billions. If Fast and Furious can make billions, I'm fairly certain the Avengers probably has as well overall. But for £200 million, if you are creating a story like The Last of Us, if you are creating a story like Horizon Forbidden West or Horizon Zero Dawn or games of that ilk, you are going to be making a lot of money. It takes a lot of money to create them. That includes all the production time, all the animations, all the mocap, getting the actors in to do the voice acting as well as the mocap. You've got the studios that will work tirelessly for 3 years to be able to put these games out. Like £200 million nowadays is not a lot of money in video games. You'd have said 10, 15, 20 years ago, that is a ridiculous amount of money. They'll never make that back. However, when you look at the likes of the PlayStation 4, which sold 120 million consoles, even if I don't know, 1 in 5 or 1 in 4 buy The Last of Us, and it's cost £200 million to make, eventually you'll make that money back somewhere, and then you'll get the green light to make the second one like they did. So I don't think £200 million is something that you're probably going to turn around and go, that is a stupid amount of money. £200 million for a franchise isn't a lot of money, I don't think. If it's a brand new game and a brand new IP, I think you might struggle. I think £200 million is a little bit out of reach. But for a game and a franchise, I genuinely don't think it is. Like, imagine if you was to put Grand Theft Auto cost £200 million to make. How much money have they made back from that particular game? Like,
About
it's almost on as
48,
many console.
50 quid,
Yeah.
maybe something like that. Yeah.
£48 billion later. But those types of games, especially Grand Theft Auto 5, that's are now going to be on its third generation, very much like Skyrim. Like, these games continue to pump out and make numbers. Like, they'll generate money till the next one comes out, and even then, for the next 3 years, you'll still see GTA Online ripping up the charts. It's still there now after 8 years. So I don't think genuinely £200 million nowadays is a lot of money when it comes to making video games, especially if it's a hugely popular one or one in for a franchise. For a new IP, yeah, maybe 100 to 150 million. You might be able to get something back from that. But genuinely, it doesn't surprise me, and I think it's reasonable nowadays.
What do you think in terms of the de-risk strategy? So obviously a GTA can spend 200 million and get their money back. Probably a God of War, which has a long history as obviously more of a slasher sort of game to now into a big single player story game kind of thing.
Yeah.
So let's say it is called God of War Ragnarok. That comes out. That could potentially earn its money back.
Yeah.
But does that push us towards a de-risk strategy? Because obviously big games will earn that money back. Little games to compete need to extend their budgets to have something that makes it look anywhere near. Do you start to get yourself in a situation where studios do put all their eggs, like not in one basket, but do they back the cash cow in terms of that's
Yeah.
not the right phrase. There's a phrase in there that I've forgotten it, but do they back the winning horse? Like, do you gamble on a new IP, a new style of game, or do you just have another superhero game kind of thing? Not superhero. That's more from a movie reference, but
Yeah.
but actually, before I leave you with that question, there was something I read about 2 weeks ago, and it was an analysis on the film industry, and it was how film studios, like you go back however many years, you'd have key actors, key actresses that were the invested properties. An Arnold Schwarzenegger, a Sylvester Stallone, and we kind of still have that to some extent now with the likes of The Rock and so on now. But it used to be you'd go to see Arnold Schwarzenegger in the films and stuff, whereas cinemas have realised that actors can be can flop, or because they have their own ability to speak to the public now via social media, can get themselves cancelled. Also, they realise that they don't own the actors. So studios now stick with IP because that's less of a risk for them. So rather than creating a new film, they'll add another superhero film, or they will stick to superheroes because they know that genre is something people will buy into rather than the actor or actress. Do we see that if games are 100 million, 200 million and require return investment? Because whilst 200 million is big money and potentially big profits if it works right, it's also enough to kill a brand with one huge flop. So do we start to see less diversity in video games going forward? What do you think?
Well, you see, this is what it comes back to when I mentioned before, or like when you're having brand new IPs there, I genuinely don't think that they will be the games that cost 200 million, apart from if it ends up becoming something bigger than it actually intended to be. Things like Cyberpunk, I don't know how much that game costs to make. I imagine with all the production value, production a year later, and having to keep on fine tuning it and trying to
15
get
quid.
it to the game that it was, yeah, like the production value of it originally probably was about 50 quid, but now I can see it potentially reaching that amount by the time they're finished with it, if it hasn't already. So I think with brand new IPs, I don't think they'll just the money on the table won't be anywhere close to that. Personally, I think it's too much of a risk. I absolutely agree with you in terms of it with the mentioned in there the games that they know they're going to do well and they have microtransactions in there and they have the ability to be able to recapture that money back quicker rather than just through game sales. Like they'll have bits in there that you can buy that will accelerate. That's the word I'm looking for. Accelerate their money back and their return on investment. I think they'll probably push more of those out than the single player experience. But we've said it numerous times on here. The single player experience is going through something at the moment, which is bringing it back to its former glory. I alluded to it earlier about some of the world's best writers coming over and writing stories for video games because they know there's bigger audience there for them to be able to replay the game more than once and enjoy it.
And
So
not only
yeah,
that, I mean, even Neil Druckmann, who people will know from Uncharted slash The Last of Us sort of games, Naughty
mm,
Dog, creative director, he was drafted in to help out with the Uncharted film and the Last of Us TV series. Usually in the past, you take a video game IP and put it in a film, it's like, okay, we understand that you wrote that, but you just wrote for a video game. These are Hollywood writers, so we don't need your help.
mm,
Whereas now it's even Cinema realizes that actually you guys have done something shit out there. Something that's 200 million. That's half the price of the most successful or the most expensive film of all time.
yeah.
And this is only a baby medium. So yeah, okay, you can come in and give us a little bit of creative direction because actually you know what you're talking about.
It's really weird as well because, like you mentioned as well about AAA stars, like people like if you see The Rock everywhere now. Is like obviously he was formerly a WWF, WWE, and now he's managed to make it into the film industry, and he's pretty much in every film that comes out in the box office. It makes a million just having his face on the front of a film will probably entice you to go and watch it if you are a fan of The Rock. But in video games, you'll have people like Troy Baker who can voice act so many different characters and you wouldn't even know it was him. But he would instantly give your character life. So you don't need to have you don't need to have movie stars come in and voice act these characters anymore to try and sell your game. As long as the story is good, these voice actors nowadays they can breathe a stupid amount of, you know, influence and a personality into a character that you wouldn't necessarily have with if you had someone like I don't know Arnold Schwarzenegger coming. Like yeah, his voice is so distinctive, and obviously he's had his heyday. Now he's still pumping out the Terminator films left, right, and center. He probably doesn't
Wow.
deserve to be in them anyway. I say he doesn't deserve to be in them. I think he's not bigger than the role, but he's just too old to be able to command that kind of character like he was in T1 and T2. But anyway, beside the point, you don't need these actors now who would demand 20-30 million pounds to be able to come in and voice act. You don't need to have that. You'll have an instance where like Norman Reedus is just willing to work with Kojima. I don't know how much he got paid. I don't imagine it's probably as much as we think it is because he probably wanted to work with his friend and be in a video game.
I wouldn't be
But
surprised if he secured the bag.
yeah,
Big
well, yeah,
time.
there's two sides of the coin. But yeah, I don't think he's probably got paid as much as we probably think he would have been paid. But yeah, with the likes of Troy Baker, why would you need to go to a super mega star to be able to come and voice act? Like, how much do you reckon that in Cyberpunk, I forgot his Keanu Reeves got for being in Cyberpunk, and he isn't even a main character as far as I'm aware. I haven't played it, so I can't give full judgment on it. But apparently, he was only like a side character in the game. How much do you reckon he got paid to be in that game to try and give it some credibility? A stupid
Enough.
amount.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
reckon. I mean, to pop up at E3 as well. I mean, that was probably kind of satisfying multiple things. The fact that they got Keanu Reeves on stage at an Xbox conference to talk about. Well, You're Breathtaking. We've all seen it. We've all seen it. But obviously, that was in LA. He's probably based in LA, so it's probably an easy win, easy negotiable. But to get him in that and to have him as, I mean, even though he's not your character, most people assume you are playing as Neo, and it's like, no, that's just Keanu Reeves. He's Johnny Silverhand. He's a different character. But he must have got paid enough for that because they didn't say that. They've never said that you play as Johnny Silverhand, but they also just let you run along with it. So, so I'm not playing as Keanu Reeves then. Oh, okay. Okay.
It's like Lady Dimitrescu. She was in everything. She was the entire marketing campaign for. I mean, to be fair, I don't think Capcom went in with the idea that she would be the poster girl for that particular game, but the internet ran with it.
It's one of those things where they've gone, oh fuck, she's taken off so well, and she's in for like 8 minutes. God damn it!
Yeah. She's literally in the first, like, I don't know, 45 minutes of the game. That is it. She's the first big boss character that you end up coming up against.
To be fair, she's in it for so little amount that when you did the playthrough on our channel, I missed like the first hour, so I didn't see any of Dimitrescu, whatever you want to pronounce it as. Didn't see any of her in your playthrough live. So, she was there, and now she's not.
It's just one of them things. Obviously, the internet will sometimes take a life of its own for something that you didn't even plan on happening. It was meant to be about Ethan Winters, and then obviously the trailer with Chris Redfield, but the internet found something else and started thoughting over Lady Dimitrescu. So why not? Like, why not make her a poster girl, even though she's in it for like 45 minutes? It's just one of them things. Like, if you want to try and play on the back of something to try and sell your game more, you don't necessarily need to have a AAA. I say AAA. You don't need to have a super mega movie star anymore to try and sell your game. Just let the internet do its thing, and it'll probably sell it for you as long as it's half decent. But yeah, it's the same thing. You don't need to pay millions to try and get people in, as long as they have and can identify as that character and play it so well that you think that character is actually a real person rather than just some shitty voice actor that you would have got 25 years ago in a video game. It's like the original Resident Evil, for Christ's sake. That game is notorious and gets voted every single year one of the worst voice acting you've ever seen, but it's infamous now.
Oh my God. She appears to be dead. There is a zombie.
What is it? Blood. It's like it's just one of them things. The internet will take a life of its own. And more often than not, it actually works out better for the marketing team because they think, okay, we actually planned this to happen, but the exact opposite is happening, and that's doing better. So we'll just run with that instead. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But yeah, all in all, £200 million, I don't think is necessarily a lot of money nowadays in video games. I think it's definitely the higher bracket, but I don't think it's unachievable. I don't think that, especially for like Grand Theft Auto, when GTA 6 hits, it wouldn't surprise me if that game costs 400 million and they'll make that back tenfold within the first 2 years of that game coming out. I'm telling you now.
Do you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if they make, like, wasn't it GTA 5 made the money back in the first month or like the first week? It was something stupid. I remember seeing it. Someone might be able to find the article. It cost a hell of a lot to make, and I'm pretty sure it made the money back in like days, if not weeks. And
it doesn't surprise me.
And then it just went on to be like.
But you know what to expect from a GTA game, don't you? Apart from the third one, that obviously took a completely different direction because the other two was aerial view, and then this one was literally a 3D world. Like, that was a complete different change of pace. It obviously worked out for the better, but with a GTA game, you kind of know what you're getting. But when those games first come out, like, you still talk about the Vice City storyline, you still talk about the San Andreas storyline. That's just because of how good the story was at the time. And yeah, when GTA 6 hits, it wouldn't surprise me if it costs double this amount and they end up getting it back just as quick. Like, this game will be the biggest game ever, I think. And that's saying a lot because GTA 5 is obviously the biggest game ever, I think, in terms of player base dedicated over 8 years. I mean, obviously Minecraft, you get things like that all the time. But that's playable on absolutely well. Then again, GTA 5 is playable on everything. But yeah, you know what I mean. Like, when GTA 6 hits, it's going to take a lot to stop it. It's going to be a juggernaut. It's going to essentially ruin the video game industry for the next year or two because there'll be no one else playing anything else.
It's funny because Like a slight tangent here, but talking about that difference between Minecraft and GTA. Minecraft is clearly an exceptional property, but I don't know what it is in my elitist view, in my personal individual echo chamber. I see it as that's not a proper game. It's just a bit of creative, but that's what all gaming is, kind of stuff. But yeah, anyway, that's we'll put a pin in that. That's an aside. So if you just joined us, what we're talking about is the fact that Sean Layden predicts that PS5 games could cost $200 million to make pretty soon. Just a couple of years ago, when he was involved, they were costing over $100 million. He thinks it'll be no time before they hit $200 million. Adds to the fact that he thinks that brings a little bit of risk. So to de-risk themselves, brands like PlayStation will just stick to properties that they know that will make business, which is good because you get big budget successful games, but you don't get any variety, so everything will start to become the same. If you're going to spend a lot, you've got a lot of risk, you will negate the risk by putting it on a surefire favorite, and that's what he says. I mean, yeah, I think I agree with Bib. I think the game cost will go up regardless, and I think that investing in surefire favorites is nothing new. It could potentially be something that we see more of, but what games have topped the gaming charts for the last 20 years? Call of Duties are probably in there, Grand Theft Autos are probably in there, FIFAs are probably in there. So we've been in that situation forever. So when you pin it back, it will probably become more of the same, but it's still pretty much an established same already for me. So it's talking about the top end as well, but that's the reason why we've seen, I think, the indie market grow so much as well, because not only is it more accessible for indie developers to make their own games now, but because there's such a gap, there's a little bit more space for indie devs to flex out into. No one's doing the top end indie stuff now because they're just going to top end AAA, which means that you get to see games like Replaced looking so exceptional and getting high placement and a lot of hype around it, because it's still just an indie title, but they're branching out into the space that the AAA are evacuating. So I don't see it being too much of an issue. It's just in certain games at the top end, and if that just means that AAA becomes one dimensional, well then that leaves a big space for AA to start to flex their wings and so on. So it's interesting. It's interesting. I'm not saying
I don't think anyone's going to get left behind.
No.
And that, like you said, the indie's going to fill in the gap. Sorry, I just burped on my microphone then.
How dare you? How dare you? Let me jump into the chat. Crumpet says, Cobra Kai, loving the t-shirt. Thank you, mate. Thank you, mate. Tito took a lurk. How dare you? Thank you. Good morning. Mr. Garlic Clark is in the chat. I'll read. Mr. T says, who knew AAA video games cost hundreds of millions to make? I know. Imagine that. Imagine that. He's too busy being Austria's major. Who is? I don't know who is. Ad also says people falling for modded PES and saying it's leaked eFootball gameplay. See, that's nothing new. I've seen people see there's an engine that bookies use for like football gambling sort of stuff where you can get I mean, it might have even been ditched and replaced with something else, but go back 5 years, there's an engine that bookies use to make football simulations, and it's pre-rendered, pre-scripted sort of stuff, but the engine looks pretty realistic. And I remember seeing people thinking this is it, new PES or FIFA, like 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, and it was just like, nope, that's just the engine that bookies use. But okay, nice. Yeah, but that's the thing though, it's the same thing with it's the Brime thing last year. People want something, so are happy to jump in and believe in something when they have such a desire, and that's it. People will see leaked footage and believe it is something that it isn't. So what are you saying?
They're just gonna slap the back of a burning garbage truck of something else. Like they want to set off something to get other people involved off the back of it. So it's like hand grenade in a ginnel. Do you know what I mean? Like they'll want people to. They want to be first. They want to be first to release something and try to be the first that gets the exclusive. Or something of that. Yeah, I just sound like Pat Butcher. They want to try and get the exclusive, so they'll just find any old shit and then hope it catches fire, throw it down, and then see who ends up jumping off the back of it. I did see that, and I can't remember whose video it was, But I'm sure it was like a video it was a PES game from 2017, but it had all the mods and it had the color scheme from PES from 2017 in there, but it just had a new scoreboard and it actually advertised my club and PES League in the background. So I don't know how people have genuinely thought that that was real, but it is what it is.
GG's. but that's the thing though. I mean, it's the same thing. Like it's not a bad thing as such. People want to believe in something. They want to see something. People are so passionate about something they will believe anything you tell them. But that's where you get the dangers of other people go, here's PES. It's really PES. It's PES 2017, mate. But it's PES. It's eFootball. It's new. And then that's when you get the stuff like, I can't remember, was it VFL or UFL? And Goals Game. 2 games that I'm excited about, but we know nothing about. But I keep seeing on social media people telling me these are like the second coming of the Messiah. And it's like, you don't know anything about it. What's that?
Well, Goals are selling merch before they even show anything about the game. Like, they're just riding the wave at the moment. They've got a lot of people backing them, which which is exciting because there's more video games. There is more football video games coming into the market. We started to ring off some of the ones 2 weeks ago, like Virtual Soccer and FA Premier League Stars and UEFA Champions League and Red Card and all these video games that used to be in the soccer or football realm that just aren't there anymore. So we're trying to get more than 2. It's fantastic. We've got more choice nowadays. But for one game that's been in development for 5 years and we haven't seen anything from it yet.
I mean,
My
like I said, I hope they're
low anyway.
wonderful. I hope they're wonderful, but it's the same thing. I'm nothing wrong with optimism or pessimism, depending on what your stance is. Feel free. We've had this conversation on Discord last week. I'm not overly optimistic or pessimistic either way. I just keep it real, and I try to keep myself balanced and keep an open mind. But not keeping an open mind is what can get you carried away with dodgy leaks that aren't real or with misinformation of something that's going to be incredible then turns out not to be. So just have it with a pinch. Isn't Arnie Austria's mayor? I don't know actually. I know he was governor of California, but I don't know if he's gone back to political positions in Austria. I have no idea. Don't know. Can't get away from it. Either it's everywhere. Is that the leak you're on about, I'm assuming? Do you think with GTA 6 we get a new GTA Online, or it stays as GTA 5's online, or it releases as a standalone game? I mean, that's a difficult question because I would think they'd start again. There's so much stuff that will have been anchored in the PS3 era that they've probably upscaled and built on and improved as time has gone on. I would have thought they'd start again, but it wasn't called GTA Online 1 or anything like that. It's just GTA Online. Plus, you've got shitloads of active users that have progress and so on. If you rip up that script and put them into GTA Online 2, let's just call it that, just for ease of verbals, if they make GTA Online 2, it could upset an already well-established apple cart.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I can't see them doing it. I think they'll just call it GTA and then whatever the city is for the new one. So they'll have GTA Online and then they'll have a separate one. Sure, like you say, surely you can't have like what they did with Call of Duty. Like they just changed the map entirely and then that's the new game now. Like I can't see it.
Yeah, I mean, part of me is thinking like, I mean, I've thought through before. Do we have that bit that Bib was talking? Let's say, I mean, I can't remember. Where is GTA 4 or 5 set? Is that
Los Santos?
So let's say the next one's Liberty City or the next one is Vice City, whatever. Do they have it so that they essentially have a different server for each one? So you go into different queue. That's one way it could be done, but that's obviously segregating the audience and stuff. So there's other ways to do it. Loads of positives and negatives for all of them. Obviously, Take-Two, Rockstar will have the data on what works for them the best. There's so many good swings and roundabouts potentials that it's hard to call. The only way we'll know is by waiting and see. But yeah, I genuinely
Maybe it's
don't
just
know.
a different island.
I mean, it could be.
Maybe you can just take your character and you can just go to the top of the map and then it'll send you off into Vice City or San Andreas or something like that.
How does WoW expansions work? So does the expansion stay on the same map? Do you just stay?
Yeah.
So could it work like that?
Like ESO is probably the better example because I know more about that one. But you'll have the likes of Skyrim, and then you'll have Tamriel, and then you'll have Somerset, and these are just different islands that you can just go to that'll have a completely different quest set and things to do, and different lore to find out, and different items, and different boss battles, and different raids that you can take place on. So It's just basically a case of you can have a fast travel or go to a certain place and then you can get ported over rather than just taking your mount and doing it. Like, there's different ways of going there, but they genuinely are just different areas of a gigantic map. Like, the map is like the map of the world, but then different areas will open when new expansions eventually come to the game. So yeah, it's that was my reasoning behind it's just going to be a potentially different map or a different city that you can go to, because I think that'll make more sense. You still have your same character, but then you can go to Vice City, you can go to Los Santos, you can go to San Andreas, you can go to these different places.
Interesting. It'd be interesting to see how they do it. I mean, that's definitely going to be a $200 million game. If there is a game that's going to be $200 million, that's the one. That's the one.
Add another zero at the
end. Ad says Spoonie. Oh, did Spoonie get done by it? I mean, see, that one's a little bit different. I mean, because Spoonie's obviously in the YouTube space. YouTube is very time sensitive, so someone like Spoonie has to react fast to get his content out. He's putting a lot of effort into trying and growing his channel, so I understand someone like him making a slip up and a mistake. That it does have knock-on effects then. So if he's believed 2017 gameplay is leaked 2022 gameplay, then I kind of get why he's made the mistake, but then other people will make those will make the same mistake off the back of his content. It's just a matter of, does he mop that up then? That's where I'd usually do it. Nope, fuck that up sort of content. Yeah. But yeah. I like him, but dude needs to watch out more because people actually think it's real. Yeah, exactly, that's what I just said. Vern says, games we know nothing about, yet goals dropping merch. Exactly. I mean, that's bizarre. I hope it's wonderful. I hope it's exceptional. But I find it bizarre to see games that you know some stuff about get slated. Games, and it could be a case of game you know some stuff about that hasn't dropped anything yet. So let's say, let's use PES. That's our closest example, or eFootball. Let's forget this year. If you're expecting eFootball news, say June, and it doesn't come in June, people start to get pissy and shit, but you know what it's going to be. Whereas goals, you don't know anything about it, but you're still like, yeah, this is fucking amazing, buy the merch. And it's like, what? It baffles me. It baffles me. It could be exceptional, but until I know it's exceptional, it's just another potential, and that's where it'll remain for me. I just do GT Online as the same game, like Save Data, do a huge COD update, but say here it's a separate free-to-play app now, because to currently play GT Online you need GTA 5, but GT Online is technically its own game. Well, it will be free-to-play on next gen. That's what's coming to PS5, right? GTA Online is coming free-to-play to PS5. Yeah, and I think that's the one that's standalone for like 3 months, exclusive or something like that. I could be wrong on that. I was talking about this on Friday with Itani, but couldn't remember. So yeah, they will separate it and break it off as its own thing. The bit what I said, like in terms of how do they start again, is you look at GTA 5 and it looks great, but you look at whatever GTA 6 is going to be, and that you have to feel will look better. So how do you play GTA Online if it's GTA 5 at its core, but GTA 6 is different, is better, potentially different engines? So do they revamp all of that and drop it on top of it? Do they reskin the whole world, which then obviously has fucking potential for issues and bugs and stuff? So,
do you not think that's why they're doing the GTA 5 standalone app for next gen consoles? Do you not think that's a big reasoning behind it? Why? I mean, it's just another way for them to try and make money. But if it's going to look as good as it can do for a next gen console, then the GTA 6 can literally just slide in next to it because they're using the same assets, kind of thing. Because it's not as if they're just putting GTA 6 on top of GTA 5. The GTA 5 is probably gonna have graphics very similar to what you're gonna get in GTA 6 whenever that decides to come out.
Well, that's the thing, though. I mean,
next-gen consoles.
They could put it to next gen consoles, but that's the thing. Are they making it fully next gen? Is it a remaster or is it a remake? Because the two will have differences. But if they're remastering it, that's a step closer towards remaking it. It's just a matter of, because like that could be a middle ground, but then there's still the significant step of going from the remaster to the remake. Should they go for something built specifically for PS5? I imagine the facial animations, the player character models, potentially all that stuff could look better. The way hands don't work very well in GTA. They're just kind of like fucking. But the way all that sort of works could be better on the next one. It's just how do they scale all that? Do they drop that enforced framework onto the top of? I don't know. Anyway, we'll put a pin in all of that sort of stuff because we're still on the first story and we're 51 minutes into we're 40 minutes into the show. So yeah, there you go. Nice. So PS5 games could cost $200 million to make. And do you want to know how they're making the money back? By charging you to upgrade to the next gen, or not, as the case may be. You may have joined us on Friday where we had a story shared by, I think, Iceman, and I think the update was maybe shared by Iceman. And that is that Horizon Forbidden West will get free PS4 to PS5 upgrades after customer blowback, and damn right they should. So future PlayStation Studios titles will offer a $10 next-gen upgrade fee. This is written by Michael McWhertor at Polygon. So customers who purchase Horizon Forbidden West on PS4 will also get the PS5 version for free, regardless of the version they buy, Sony Interactive Entertainment announced Saturday. That's a change from the plan Sony and developer Guerrilla Games announced on Thursday, which only offered dual-platform entitlements for Horizon Forbidden West for PS4 and PS5 if customers bought the $79.99 Digital Deluxe Edition or a more expensive edition of the game. There was no upgrade path from PS4 to PS5 at the time. Sony Interactive Entertainment President and CEO Jim Ryan announced the change in an update posted to Sony's PlayStation blog, saying, "It's abundantly clear that the offerings we confirmed in our pre-order kickoff missed the mark." Last year, Ryan indicated in an interview with the Washington Post, "We have an upgrade path for PS4 users to get the PS5 versions for free." According to Ryan's statement on the PlayStation blog, that offer was intended to be limited to cross-generation launch titles appearing on PS5. From Ryan's statement, "Last year, we made a commitment to deliver free upgrades for our cross-gen launch titles, which included Horizon Forbidden West. While the pandemic's profound impact pushed Forbidden West out of the launch window we initially envisioned, we still stand by our offer. Players who purchase Horizon Forbidden West on PS4 will be able to upgrade to the PS5 version for free. I also want to confirm today that moving forward, PlayStation first-party exclusive cross-gen titles, releasing on PS4 and PS5, both digital and physical, will offer a $10 digital upgrade from PS4 to PS5. This will apply to the next God of War, Gran Turismo 7, and any other exclusive cross-gen PS4 and PS5 title published by Sony Interactive Entertainment." End quote. Sony noted that upgrading a PS4 version of a cross-gen game to a digital version of that game on PS5 will require a PS5 console with a disc drive. So if you've got a PS4 and you've got a disc game and you want to upgrade that... Actually, let me just read this again. Sony noted that upgrading a PS4 of a cross-gen game to a digital version of the game on PS5 will require... Okay, I'm not...
Yeah, that makes no sense.
Okay, I took that as if you've got a disc version, but that's as a digital version.
Yeah, if you buy the disc version of PS4, but then you got a PS5 digital console, you're fucked, basically.
Can you choose then to get the digital? Is the next gen upgrade always digital? Okay, I think that's what it is. I could be wrong. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. I'm assuming that your next gen upgrade will obviously be digital, so you have to have the digital version. If you've got a disc version, they're not going to give you another disc. You will always get the digital counterpart. But if you've got a disc version, you have to still be able to put that disc into your console. So if you've got a PS4, the only way you can activate it is by putting it into the PS5, which I kind of get, but I also think, do you need that? You can see I own the game and play the game, but then again, I suppose you do, because if you just borrow the game, you probably need to boot it off the disc for the handshake, because if
That's
not...
how I got away with it.
Yeah.
I've got a disc PS5. I wouldn't be able to do this otherwise if I got a digital one, would I?
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm assuming you have to have the disc in the console for it to boot the digital one. Because if not, I can just borrow your disc once, stick it in my console, give it you back, and then never... Okay, that will be what it is then. Which makes sense. It's just a case of you can't just pass it around, and it serves for copyright, essentially, protection. Let me jump back to the chat before we carry on. Then, GG Horizon fans, Horizon Zero Dawn's a great game. For all that always say complaining never does any good, this exactly. This actually warranted complaints though, as it went against what they originally said with no real explanation. Glad they listened and common sense prevailed. Moral of the story: don't break your goddamn promises. Your sound reasoning and logic annoys me. Can you just be logical and irrational for a change, please? Says Tito to Mr. T. Yes. God damn it. I mean, absolute sense, right, babe?
Yeah. If you say something and then kind of go against it and then say actually we want to take more money, then that's a completely different argument, which is obviously what this is about. But genuinely, I know there's going to be people out there that are going to get pissed off because they've got a PS4 version of a game and they want to play it on the PlayStation 5 with all the stuff and they just want that for free. And I don't think that's right at all. Like, if they have had to go and completely rechange your game to make a PlayStation 5 version, you want to play that PlayStation 5 version because it looks better than your PlayStation 4 version, you'd have to go out and buy it. It's as simple as that. I mean, there is obviously instances where you can buy the PlayStation 4 version or a gold edition or whatever, and you get the PlayStation 5 version later down the line when that's ready available. That's absolutely fine for new games if they haven't said that you're going to be getting it for free earlier on. But genuinely, if you've got a PlayStation 4, like I've had to rebuy this again. I'm getting one for free, which I genuinely would have just bought the PlayStation 5 version if it was available, but I don't have to anymore because I paid £14 for this one and they're giving it me for free. But genuinely, if like Skyrim just said, right, we're making a PS5 version, it's going to cost you £45, Bibby's going to be dipping into his pockets and he's going to be paying £45 for a Skyrim on PlayStation 5, and I will be happy to do that because it's a game that I absolutely adore and it's a game that I want to be able to play at the very best. It's just that they've given me a way to be able to do it that's costing me less. Like if you go into the PSN store now, it is £40 to be able to go and buy the game digitally over there. That's cost me £14 and I'm still getting the same experience. But genuinely, if there's a PlayStation 5 version of a game that's going to be coming out and they have said that you have to buy it, I don't see anything wrong with that. They've put all the time in the world to be able to go and make that game again for you with a better experience. It may have a load of new mods. It may have a performance update like we've got on GTA 5. I know we've talked heavily about GTA 5 today, but someone's been able to mod it on PC to make it run faster. They've taken that mod, they've put it into their own game, and now you're able to play it a lot faster, even faster on your PlayStation 5 when that comes out. I don't see anything wrong with that. The only reason that this is a completely different argument is because they've said that you were going to get it for free, and then they've gone back on that and said, actually, you need to pay for the upgrade, which isn't the best PR they potentially could have had. But essentially, I would have been happy to pay for it if I had to. That's just me, though.
It's funny to hear what just sounds like a feeble shithouse PR attempt at an answer. Oh, okay. We did say it was going to be free because it was in the launch window, but we delayed it, which meant it was outside of the launch window, and that's why it's not free. We realise now that you've kicked off that was shit. How did you not realise that at first? How did you not realise that was shithouse? 100% incarnate. And I'll tell you why. Do you know, I won't even tell you why. Chris Scullion from VGC will tell you why in just a second, after we look at this comment from Tito in the chat, because it's a good tie into it. Not knowing development at all, was this an opportunistic cash grab, or are there reasonable associated costs to upgrade? I know historically Sony has made game dev easier on PlayStation, but the way Microsoft has implemented their cross-gen approach seems to have made it easy for developers and, as a result, consumers. I think, yeah, this good question, also good comment, but I'm going to use that as a jumping off point to jump into this tweet from Chris Scullion, who's one of the guys that gets featured on the Scoop pretty often because he writes for VGC. He actually wrote VGC's equivalent of the story that we've just seen, although we didn't feature that article, but this is his tweet. Hell of a U-turn this, considering it's only the second truly massive PS5 game post-launch after Ratchet. They would never admit it, but Xbox Smart Delivery has shaken up what used to be considered a perfectly acceptable system, where you bought the version you wanted to play. And then the follow-up tweet, it used to be you'd buy a next-gen system and expect to rebuy the next-gen games. When I bought my 360 on day one, I happily bought Gun and King Kong at launch without expecting to be able to play them on my OG Xbox 2. Smart Delivery changed expectations, and in brackets, for the better, in my opinion. I completely agree with what he's saying there. PlayStation, though, haven't moved forward. They have not moved forward. I get the idea. Different consoles, different development costs. Makes sense. And I do offer some element of flexibility in there in terms of you don't get the same team. If you're building something for a PS3 and the PS4 and the PS5, okay, we'll ditch the PS3 now, but we're doing PS4 and PS5, different teams, it's not necessarily the person working on the PS5 stuff isn't necessarily the same person working on the exact same stuff for the PS4, or it might be, but it'll probably come again as like in two parts. You'll do the PS5 stuff first, and then you'll do the PS4 stuff. So you've got double the cost, whatever way it works.
Less time, more time as well.
Exactly, more time, more costs. I get that. I completely understand that they have to account for those costs. However, reading the room, obviously, Xbox's smart delivery changes perceptions, and perception is reality. In essence, an individual's reality is what they see as what is sensed around them. The reality for PlayStation is that we still have these costs. The reality for the user is, yeah, but Xbox have managed to figure out how to get past it. Why can't you? And that might not be realistic. Xbox are probably just eating the cost, and they may put the prices up later on, or whatever reason it is. Reality is perception, and reality is not reality all the time. And that's the thing. PlayStation need to change their realities in that sort of sense. And I'm glad to see that they're finally starting to give us what we should have had all along. They don't have smart delivery. I don't feel they need smart delivery, but having the flat. Bibby needs to let the cat out.
Yeah, I see that.
But having the flat £10 upgrade, boom, $10, whatever it is, whatever currency it was, that works for me because we can't commit to smart delivery. Our games cost $200 million. We've just told you that. They cost tons. So if we were to make a video game that cost $200 million, you want the biggest, the best games. We are spending $200 million. We can't afford to give you the game for free. But what we can do is give you a $10 upgrade. Then that is fine. That's their answer. You know what you're getting. And I think the fact that they've committed to something like that is fine. People used to get Xbox Live and pay for Xbox Live, but play games on PlayStation for free and still play on Xbox Live whilst playing on PlayStation because they realised, okay, that is their system, that is their cost. People who were happy to spend on Xbox Live and keep PlayStation for free to do the same thing with more cost because they understood it. Now if they put a flat cost on that, something that's understandable, then that's fine by me. And we've gone through an absolute shit show of a PR disaster around Horizon. Okay, that's fine. You give the game away for free like you should have done. But it's that crunching of the eggs has given us the omelette of, okay, we now have a flat upgrade fee of £10. Why didn't we have this at launch? Why did you not consider next-gen upgrades? Ubisoft did that at the very start of the PS3 with PS4 with Assassin's Creed Black Flag. How can you not be having that in your plans at the very start of PS5? So, yeah.
If Xbox are happy to absorb that cost and they think that they can long term, well, they can take that hit because Game Pass is obviously costing them a lot of money, and we've seen evidence of that. And they're happy to absorb that cost until they can't, which is terrible to think about because that we genuinely have no idea how that could go for them if they can't absorb it and they've forked out hundreds of millions to have these games on their console, like Epic giving the game away free every single week. Like that can only take you so far unless you are making money hand over fist. I don't see the problem in buying it again, especially even if there's a £10 upgrade. Like I said, I don't think there's anything wrong with that personally.
Yeah.
I think, like I say, if you've got teams that are working and putting in the hours on something that they probably haven't got that much experience in coding with, like coding for the PS4 and an engine there and trying to optimize it is completely different from doing it on a PlayStation 5. I'm willing to pay to say thank you essentially and play a game that I absolutely love because why would I want to buy a game twice if I didn't love it in the first place? But yeah, if you can only absorb it for as long as you can pay for it, and if you can't pay for it, that will leave you in the red. What happens then?
Yeah, I agree. Mr. T says the costs are still there, even with the Xbox Smart Delivery games. The dev team would have had to work on the Series X features or upgrades. Xbox seems like they're happy to absorb that cost. That puts PlayStation in, well, this position. The $10 upgrade makes sense. PS4 games are £50 to £60. PS5 games are £60 to £70. That's totally fair and sets a precedent out. I agree. If it costs you £10 more to get that game, and you've already bought one, it's not fair to make people pay for that whole 40 quid, because a lot of it has been done. Let's say you're not paying 100% of the costs to port from PS4 to PS5 if you're doing it at the same time. If you're having a split release, but asking people to pay for 100% of the game on PS4 and then the extra 20% of development time, 10% or whatever, asking them to pay that 10 quid fee boxes that off, kind of thing. So it's not, and even if it was more like 100%, it's still bad customer rhetoric kind of thing in that way, with everything that smart delivery is going on. Now we have a situation where they have a flat £10. Boom. That makes sense, because it's just all in. Even if not all games cost £10, even if like you've got yourself a cost that you can amortize then and keep yourself afloat going forward, you're earning the money back to account for that. I'll just call it a porting process, even though that's not what it is. We'll just call it that for ease. That 10 quid plus the extra money that other people are paying to buy the full price next gen version, that amortizes your costs and covers you for that, to an extent where you hopefully earn enough back that you still in the green on the next gen or the cross gen costs, but you also have something simplified that doesn't make you look like a tit. Like Tito says in the chat, I think confusion is where you have complex structures with certain editions, etc., which was ridiculous with Horizon and EA in particular. A set structure would simplify things great. Exactly. I mean, it's not a case of buy the next gen version, but also if you have this version of the next gen version, you don't get the last gen, or buy this current gen version and you slice the tip of your middle finger, drip 2 droplets of blood onto something, add a little bit of salt, say the word Hakuna Matata, and then what the fuck? I just want to play it on this console, on that console, when I get it, when I can finally get it. So yeah, £10. Okay, next gen, boom. And but the thing is though, with that, people are going, yeah, but it's free on smart delivery. That's not a problem. That's not a problem. It is a little bit, but if PlayStation has a set mantra, okay, it was 10 quid for next gen, £10 is all that stands between you and next generation. That's all it is. And that's when you can start to get that, okay, well, they're giving their smart delivery for free because they need to get you in. We're charging you for the next gen because we believe our next gen experience is worth £10. That's it. You just put it in that sort of soundbite, make something along that line be a key component of your marketing, and it sells itself then in that sort of sense. We've got there eventually. It cost another fuck up for PlayStation to get there, which is part and parcel of how PlayStation has dealt with PS5 so far. Do you want, well, not even PS5, everything. Hey, we're going to get rid of all of the games that you've ever bought in the past from digital stores for PS3, PS Vita, PSP, all in one go, bye! Actually, we've just realised that was probably a shit thing to do, so we're not going to do that. Hey, we're going to only give you stuff that we promised to give you for free before, but you can only get it now if you buy it, and say, no, actually, fuck it, yeah, we're going to give it you back. And we've had, what, is it 2, 3, 4, fucking 72 different apologies from PlayStation so far. Just do the right thing off the bat. And this is where we fall back into, I'm going to quickly speed up because we need to move off this article now, but this is kind of something me and Bibby have spoken about many, many times, and I don't doubt it will come up many, many more times. It's the curse of first place. If you're in second place, you make shit, you do shit, you take the shortcuts, you cut corners professionally, obviously, in the good ways, to make sure that you've got a good chance of overtaking. PlayStation did that. But now we've looped it back. Actually, do you know what? It's not just me and Bibby. I said Billy because there's Billy's an actual name that I'm going to reference now. It's not just me and Bibby because Billy Cupid actually responded to Scully's tweet, says, agreed. Xbox are forcing Sony to adopt consumer-friendly practices the same way Sony forced Xbox last gen. Competition is good. Never fails to amaze me how platform holders seem to go through this cycle every gen, forgetting what made their last gen popular with people. Then Chris Scully responds saying, you'd think they'd see the cycle by now, but they both seem adamant to turn on cocky mode each time they're successful. We'll just leave it there. We don't need to carry on with that thread. You get the point. That's it. Our PlayStation cocky? I kind of feel so. PlayStation last generation would have gone out of the doors with that £10 upgrade fee. Boom. Do you know what? We just simplified it. It's 10 quid across the board. Don't have to worry about getting it next gen, last gen, fucking working out like finding the holy grail to get your upgrade or whatever. It's just done. But they're in cocky mode.
Do you not think there's a bit of FOMO in there as well, though? Like, I think we're potentially overlooking the fact that if you get told that you got a £10 upgrade and they don't put a timer on it, you think that, okay, I'm going to put my disc in and pay the £10 now because it might not be £10 in, I don't know, a year's time when you actually want to replay it again. So they could be getting free money because people people are actually playing the game for a second time.
Sorry, I was just responding to a message. My phone just buzzed out to respond. So what, in terms of people buying it now, so they're not missing out on the opportunity to do that.
Yeah. So if you got told that, like for instance, we got, I don't know, Skyrim, not Skyrim, any other game in the world, right? And then you find out it was coming to PlayStation 5 and there was a £10 game. We'll use Horizon Forbidden West here. You've got this game now, you're playing it, it's great. Then they said, okay, there's going to be a £10 upgrade to be able to play the PlayStation 5 version. You reckon people will end up paying the £10 even though they don't have the means to, or they don't want to play it again? Maybe not a brand new game. We'll talk about a game. Fuck it, we'll use Skyrim. We've got this game.
Of course we will.
Yeah, they said it's going to be £10 for you to be able to play it again, right? People may have just finished it and don't want to play the PlayStation 5 version of it yet, but they're going to pay the £10 because they don't know if that £10 limit is going to run out at some point, and then eventually they might have to having to pay £35 for it because that timer that they didn't know was there has now eclipsed. So they could end up actually getting free money because people want to do it now and they've got the fear of missing out later down the line.
I mean, I would have seen that FOMO stuff as being something that PlayStation could include in their campaigns this time, definitely. Do I think they would have had that in the last gen? No. Last gen, they needed to get people on board. So they wouldn't have had it, you need to get this now. Because I think EA did that sort of FOMO thing, didn't they? Like, you had to upgrade between a certain amount of time to get the next gen version for whatever or something like that. Which is FOMO element. Do it or don't do it. Do it or you lose out forever. And it's like, oh, shit, oh, fuck. So that is something I could have seen PlayStation doing up until this point. I can't see them doing that now. £10 is your flat thing now. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that was something that they've thought, how can we force people into giving us their custom? Whereas last gen, it was like, how can we do the right thing for the customer to make sure that we keep our profile looking great? Because we understand that our profile, our brand image, is what is bringing people into our the blue side. And now there's like, fuck it, everyone's here. How can we just milk them? And it's like, no, don't do that. That's why you had to do it last time. God's sake. Asim agreeing with Tito says, yep, they've had a nightmare. Hopefully this is it now with PlayStation. Some people will pay that £10 to get 2 sets of trophies. Some people will. Whereas I'll just buy them straight from next gen base. Yay. Small percentage, sure, but think globally. And that's a lot of £10 across the world. For sure. Okay, we'll put a pin in that because we are over, and I want to jump into this article that Madge has shared with us now. This is one that we probably aren't fully equipped to discuss all of the nuances with this, but I don't want to be scared from us stepping into stories that we might not be able to fully cover, because we hope that's where you guys can jump in. This was shared by Madge, who is one of our viewers that wants to have us talking about this. So we want to speak about the subjects that our viewers want us to be speaking about, even if we don't do the greatest job of it. So obviously, just want to give the caveat that we might not have all angles covered on this story, but we want to have a go at it. If you don't like what we say, if you have any opposition to what we say, do feel free to share. That's kind of the point of the show anyway, whether it's live, on demand, or just dropping us messages in Twitch whispers or on Twitter, whatever. Do feel free to let us know. Anyway, this is the story, if you don't know what it is. Shipwright Studios is cancelling contracts with Tripwire following presidents, and that's Tripwire presidents, not the president of the US. So following Tripwire's president's anti-abortion tweet. This is written by Peter Glagowski at The Gamer. Obviously, just a caveat, again, we don't know much about abortion / anti-abortion, but we want to kind of tackle this anyway. So let's jump in. And even without the abortion bits, actually, there's good enough angles for us to talk about the video games industry in terms of pulling away from contracts as a result of individual opinions. But anyway, let's jump in. So Shipwright Studios will be cancelling its contracts with Tripwire Interactive following the president's anti-abortion tweet. So, indie developer for hire Shipwright Studios has announced it will be cancelling all of its current and future contracts with developer Tripwire Interactive following an anti-abortion tweet from the president of the company. John Gibson, who has been with Tripwire since its founding in 2005, tweeted out support for the controversial Texas law that aims to ban abortions past the 6-week mark yesterday afternoon, finishing his tweet by stating he wished to go on record as a pro-life game developer. Many users fired back at him on Twitter to voice their concerns. Most pertinent Pertinent to this story, Shipwright followed up a day later with a short letter outlining its issues with Gibson's statement. Quote, "While your politics are your own, the moment you make them a matter of public discourse, you entangle all of those working for you and with you," reads the tweet. Noting how difficult it is for employees to speak against Gibson, Shipwright felt it was the right decision to respond and help give those without a voice some visibility. "We started Shipwright with the idea that it was finally time to put our money where our mouth is," continues the tweet. "We cannot, in good conscience, continue to work with Tripwire under the current leadership structure. While unlikely to happen overnight, Shipwright will be cancelling its existing contracts with Tripwire in the coming days. For those unaware of Shipwright, the studio doesn't create games, but assists developers with ensuring crunch doesn't happen. With Tripwire, Shipwright has contributed to Chivalry 2 and Maneater in an unknown capacity. On the company's website, you can see a list of partners and titles that Shipwright has been involved with, including games such as Mortal Shell, Legends of Aria, and The Outbreak. As for what Tripwire has done, it is responsible for the Killing Floor series, Chivalry 2, and some DLC for Maneater are the most recent releases from the developer. The company has also developed Red Orchestra and Rising Storm while publishing Xenoclash, Road Redemption? That sounds like a rip-off of a name. And Dwarfs.
It was a Road Rash, wasn't it? It was like a new Road Rash.
Mixed with Red Redemption. Let's call it Road Redemption. People might buy it
On horses.
accidentally. Excuse me, have you got Road Redemption? Yeah, of course we got that. Your mum comes home. I've got you a new game. Got you Red Redemption. Yeah. Oh no. Anyway, final line. While not being a big developer by any means, most players are likely familiar with at least one game from the company. End article. So to summarize, John Gibson, president of Tripwire, tweeted in support of the new anti-abortion laws. He wants to ban abortion and put out his own personal opinion on that, which naturally it's a very sensitive subject. Is it right for a president of a company to go out and share his own opinion like that? I mean, I get, obviously, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but is it right for a president of a company on an account that maybe is personal, but is still heavily affiliated with work? Is he right to share his opinions there? That's kind of the angle that I want to look at this from. I don't want to jump too heavily into the if pro-life / pro and anti-abortion, you know what I mean? Either side of the anti-abortion fence or abortion / anti-abortion fence. I don't want to jump too much into that because I don't feel like we have the knowledge equipped to that, to deal with that. But yeah, is it right for him to be putting that message out there in the way that Shipwright have said? Where did they put it? Wow, where's the way? I can't find the quote. While your politics are your own, the moment you make them a matter of public discourse, you entangle all of those working for and with you. Do you agree with that? What do you agree, babe? What are your thoughts?
I think you should be able to say like whatever. Let's say whatever you want. I feel there's a freedom of speech element, but you've got to expect people to be able to cut ties or disagree with you. And to this extent, people have disagreed with him by the fact that they've cancelled contracts with him. I don't think you should. I think you should be careful of what you say because they will always end up having a blowback, which is why I'm choosing very, very different words here, because I am absolutely petrified of saying the wrong thing. But yeah, I would have. There's a lot of things that I don't talk about, and politics is one of them. I fucking hate talking about it because you will piss inevitably someone off. I haven't got that much interest in it. I only started voting maybe 4 years ago. Like the whole politics situation is usually a load of old bollocks. It's people that say that they've got a choice when essentially you don't. You're still being told what to do by someone, and they will make an informed decision for you. Regardless of what I say, I am pro-choice. I think there was Samantha was trying to explain it to me yesterday because again, I don't really pay that much attention to most things, for better or for worse. But she was saying like if one person was to end up getting raped and then try to end up terminating it. Say, for instance, if your dad raped the daughter, she then became pregnant, she couldn't terminate that child. If she tried to, the father would get £10,000. That seems absolutely bizarre. That is the world that the state that people are living in over there, and that choice has been taken away from them. I think if based off of that instance alone, I think that this shouldn't have been made. But in terms of this person coming out and saying what they believe in. I personally don't think there's anything wrong with that. If they believe it that much and they want to try and, well, they're not trying to influence, they're just expressing their opinion. But you've got to expect people to be able to fire back, say something back to them, and in this case, lose a contract in the video games industry, and someone else is going to come in and take that contract from them. Let's be honest. There will be people who probably share the same opinion of him that is ahead of another video game publisher or studio that is going to come in and take that and pick up the mantle from whoever it is that's left. That's just business. People will agree, people will disagree. But in terms of politics, yeah, I do genuinely think that people should be able to say what they want, but you should expect some kind of consequence from the other side if that's the case.
Yeah, I mean, Tito's put this was unreal. There's no right answer to this. Everyone has the right to choose based on their own situation. Someone else outside of the situation has no right to say that they do not have the choice. His tweet saying he doesn't normally do politics but felt the need to on this was an unbelievably poor choice. Difficult to see where he thought this would go. Asim says, I'm pro-choice always, especially when it comes to your own body in this case. But as Tito said, this is a poor choice to give his opinion when he doesn't usually do politics. I agree. I'm pro-choice. I believe someone should be able to make the situations based on their own circumstances, my belief. And I mean, I can. I don't want to go too personal, but I mean, Chloe wasn't a planned birth. Not going to hide that she wasn't planned, but she's the best thing that's ever happened to me. So we could have had a conversation on whether we planned that. Me and Danielle hadn't known each other for too long in the grand scheme of things, but we thought we had enough signs of what was there that we would have a relationship that would last. And sure enough, 12 years later on, here we still are, 13 years later on, things still going strong. We made the right decision for us, but we had a conversation on that. And it wasn't a case of, oh, there's no abortion option on the table. It was an option, should we have wanted that? We chose not to do that, not because we're anti-abortion, but because we thought our life, our circumstances and our situation was enough for us to continue with that decision. But that was it. It was a decision we made. It wasn't something that that people didn't have that option. Like Baby says, what if you're a victim of sexual assault? And that's where the question comes in. What if it's about your physical health? What if giving birth could potentially end your life? There's all sorts of nuances. But yeah, I completely agree. I do believe in there is an element of freedom of speech. You should be fine to share your opinions, but I also am aware that that's not necessarily black and white in the world of social media, fully ingrained, hands-on. I mean, you will get the people going, yeah, but you cancel culture. You've cancelled him. You've cancelled Tripwire because of his personality, because of what he believes. Where's the freedom of speech and expression and stuff like that? And I get like where those sides of the story are coming from, but I also know what world I live in. If I'm a figurehead for a business, don't rock the boat. If you need to have Twitter, fucking make another one. Make one like under John Smith or whatever, and then share you. Fuck it. If you need to back into a void, do it that way. You don't as a figurehead of a business need to put your business onto a political discourse. If you is it relevant? Does Tripwire being anti-abortion / pro-life, whatever you want to call it, is that relevant to game development? No, it's not. So it didn't need to be there. So yeah, there we go. It's a shame because there's probably tons of talented people that have as Shipwright have said, the moment you make the matter of public them a matter of public discord, you entangle all of those working for and with you. Shipwright were entangled, and all of the employees at Tripwire were entangled as well, because one person felt the need. Yeah, exactly. Why did you really feel the need to just share something so pertinent, so out loud? No need.
How are we going to read the next articles? Because
we're already over anyway, so I'm going to wrap things up. Feel free to do one if you need to coronavirus stuff.
Yeah, right, okay. Yeah, see you later, guys. See you tomorrow.
Bye. And there we lose Bib. There you go. You can see the back of my head if you want. Hey, hi, how you doing? That's what happens when Bibby drops off Discord. Oh, shit, I've lost my alert box. But there you go. We are going to wrap things up. We do have 2 other stories. Oh, fuck, I just done something there. What have I done? I'm trying to respond to ads in the chat, and I didn't even mean to. We'll pick up these 2 stories tomorrow. Alan Wake Remastered looks set for release in October. Plus, there is a big old Xbox controller. If you like the original Duke Xbox controller, we will have that to discuss tomorrow. We'll move those forward. But that's what happens when you have some taste of news, some spicy stories in the world of video game development / upgrades and stuff, plus something a little bit social rather than just economics. So it's nice to talk to. Let me jump through the chat and make sure we've covered everything. Where did we get to? Yeah, Mr. T says, but yeah, as Tito said, this is a poor choice to give his opinion when he doesn't usually do politics. Tito says he has the right, of course. Was it wise? Absolutely not. He knew that when he prefaced it saying he doesn't normally cross over into politics. He must have expected some blowback. Why are you making that risk, taking that risk? I get... If you are some fucking free speech warrior that says, no, I shouldn't be able to have my opinion and not be ripped down for it, I get there's a whole deep conversation that I am not personally equipped to have on that. But he knew, like you say, he knew by starting with that preface, he knew that it's not just a case of, it's not just black and white anymore. When you're with business is never just black and white. You just go, it's just business. Or you've got the emotive and the ethical standpoint, but it's just business. The two don't necessarily go hand in hand. We've spoken about that on multiple different levels before. So as David said, he tripped on his own tripwire. And now might be going boom in this political minefield. Well, he is. And unfortunately, so is the rest of his staff. Such a shame. Such a shame. I mean... have your opinion, whatever, that's yours, but to drag other people down because you feel the urge to share your opinion, is it that important to tell other people what you think? Sometimes it's better to just not the thing with an opinion is you don't have to give it to other people. You can keep it to yourself. You don't have to keep it to yourself, but you can do. Just sometimes it baffles me that people just can't even do that anyway. For me, politicians I voted in to run the country, not my or anyone else's body. I agree. I mean, that's it. Like, how can you say what I can and can't eat, drink, digest, have living inside me? You can't. Fuck off. But yeah, there you go. Tito says, GG for covering this, though. It is ironically a political trick. Why? It is. I mean, we aren't necessarily the channel that's most equipped for these conversations. We don't want to be scared of talking about the more taboo subjects, and I use the word taboo because I can't think of a better word, even though that's probably not the best word for this. So I like to get involved in conversations that I feel that we should be having, even not that we're not massive influencers, but the fact that we are live now with 15 people still watching, that's 15 voices I could potentially influence. So I want to make sure that I'm not only covering things that are important. Yeah, it's important to talk about video games, but video games crossing over into being pro-life or not is something that's quite serious. Just last week, I was on with Show talking about hate raids and addressing those sort of situations. I don't feel like I'm super equipped to deal with pro-life conversations or conversations about race. But it doesn't mean that I don't want to try. I don't want to try and learn more. So it's nice for us to try and be able to have those conversations with you guys and learn in the process. But unfortunately, it seems like some people out there need to do some learning and just start putting the time into it. If you don't know, I mean, maybe you could arguably say that guy didn't know what he was doing, so shut your mouth. I mean, I don't know what I'm talking about. Should I shut my mouth? But the difference is I prefaced that with that. I don't know what I'm doing. Let's have a discussion. He prefaced it with that. I don't usually do this, but here's my undeniable viewpoint. It's not a discussion. That's you just preaching. That's you just telling. No. Anyway, let's put a pin in the conversation for today. Have a great afternoon, everyone. And remember, Steve Frosty says ads. You goddamn right. But not just yet. We are going to wrap things up. Do you know what? We could have some additional gameplay. It could be Big Rumble Boxing. Did anyone see the tweet? I was pretty proud of the asset that I put together on Friday, by the way. Let me see if I can find it quickly. So on Friday, we got gifted there we go, we got gifted a copy of Big Rumble Boxing by our friends at Kochpedia. Okay, chatbot's just kicked me out of the chat with Discord. We know he's gone, it's fine. Look at this. Yeah, look at these beautiful people. So there you go, Big Rumble Boxing, Creed Champions. We could be playing that potentially today. If not, we might jump on with something else, depending on if Bibby's on. If there's only one of us, we might do a little bit of solo gameplay. If there's both of us, then it probably won't be this, because it's only one-player game, unless you got couch co-op. So we could be playing that today. but I'm not sure when, so we will drop a raid on someone. Do stick around for the raid. You get extra channel points that you can spend on our stream. If you don't know what they are, any Twitch partner or affiliate has the option to turn on channel points. That is basically a currency that you get gifted for interacting with streams, sticking around, subbing, following raids and stuff. So if you follow our raid to our friend, you get extra channel points that you can spend on this channel. And if you stick around for long enough, you can use those channel points for a sub. Save yourself, I want to say £5, but it's £4 now, but it's £3.20 at the moment or something with the September stuff. So you can save yourself some money just by sticking around for enough raids. So yeah, feel free to stick around for that. Speaking of subbing to the channel, don't forget we do have the loot drop, which we will be drawing today, either on stream or off. One person will be informed in our Discord that they are the winner of one of these Ice Cream Uploads esports jerseys. So stick around for that. You can find all of that across all our social media. Thanks to Ads for dropping the socials in, which is also where you can share anything that you have that you want us to discuss. Shout out to Magic Man for dropping in the Pro Life / Tripwire / I can't remember the name of the other company. I don't have it on the screen because I've got my face as a boxer on the screen. Shipwright Studios. That story from Madge. Iceman sharing some stories as well. If you want to share your stories, you can help shape our show even just by dropping the links in Discord or on social media. The links to all of that is in the chat, thanks to Ads. Thank you, Ads. Yeah, just give us the link to the story, thoughts and impressions. We will give you our thoughts and impressions tomorrow at 10 a.m. So yeah, we'll find a friend, we'll drop some love, stick around for the raid, and have yourselves a fantastic day. Until then, stay frosty.